This week on Healthy Living, we look at how the stress of elections can take a toll on people's health and well-being. As Ghana prepares for presidential elections, voters' health and safety takes center stage. And how to cope with election-related anxiety and stress, an expert shares practical strategies. Plus, parents in Kenya are monitoring screen time in a rapidly changing technological landscape. That's in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello, I'm Linor Moudou. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Living. The United States just concluded a very intense presidential election, while Africa has a busy election calendar this year with over 15 presidential or general elections. Observers say no matter where they take place, elections can take a significant mental toll on individuals and communities. Elections in Africa are often marked by high stakes and heightened tensions that can pose significant health risks to voters in some cases. Experts in Ghana underscore how campaign activities, voter fatigue, fear of political tension, and violence during an electoral period result in increased road crashes and severe mental stress. Sinanu Todd reports from Accra, Ghana.
Election seasons in Africa are often turbulent, characterized by vibrant campaigns, street rallies, protests, and occasional violence. And experts say the physical nature of these activities can take a toll on voters. According to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data, ACLED, an independent NGO collecting data on violent conflict and protest around the world, since 2000, nearly 50% of election-related violence globally has occurred in Africa, exposing citizens to significant health risk. Ghanaian Ministry of Health's National Ambulance Service Director of Operations, Foster Anson Brijan, says while violence is a concern, road crashes are the leading health hazard during elections.
Because of the parties moving around, campaigning, some deep into the night, and so the drivers become tired. And so we know driver fatigue also leads to crashes, road traffic crashes. So we've observed that anytime we are in an election, the number of crashes goes up.
According to the National Road Safety Authority, during election years, road crashes in Ghana spike up by approximately 10%. Isaac Newman Arthur is a clinical psychologist and spokesperson for the Ghana Psychologists Association. He says beyond physical health, the stress and tension surrounding elections can severely impact the mental well-being, especially of individuals with pre-existing conditions.
Depending on whatever happened during the political season, someone may never recover from the impact of whatever they went through, and that can be lifelong. And if people have lost relatives, lost their job, they've had some financial difficulties, security may not have been good for them, health systems and economy and all those issues are affecting them, then the dread of experiencing a particular government for the next 4 years can actually create a lot of problems.
As Ghana gears up for general elections on December 7, 2024, to elect the president and members of parliament, the National Ambulance Service is stepping up its preparedness to address these health risks. Its Emergency Medical Service Supervisor, Daniel Asari, says they are equipped with modern ambulances and trained personnel and ready to help mitigate health hazards.
As part of this election preparation, National Ambulance Service have been able to give basic first aid training to these institutions like the police service, fire service and immigration and prisons. So we did a training program for them so that they will be able to get certain basic first knowledge.
Authorities at Ghana's ambulance service say while elections mark a pivotal moment in democracy, they also bring health challenges, and they are working to minimize these health risks and ensure a safer process for all citizens. Sana Anutod, VOA Africa, Accra, Ghana.
How do you feel as election season is approaching in your country? And do elections cause you stress or affect your mental state? And what strategy do you use to manage the stress or anxiety triggered by elections? Here are some reactions from viewers in Abidjan as they prepare for the next presidential elections in 2025.
I used to be a little bit stressed because we had some moments in our country. But today, with the country's stability and the information we have, now there's an awareness. So I'm confident that the elections will go well.
Some stress, yes, from what we had to go through in the past years. So yes, we usually approach elections with a bit of stress because we don't know what to expect.
I've been through 2 elections, so I'm used to managing my stress by now. And with the approach of this election, I feel excited because we see an initiative from the youth toward this election that wasn't there in the previous ones.
Since we are in a democratic country, the power is to the people. So we should approach it with calmness as we are the ones who are voting. So there's no need to complicate things and we need to stay calm.
I think it's all about awareness. I appeal to every citizen to be positive, to avoid negative thoughts, and I encourage everyone to vote so his candidate can win.
Aisha Buba is a psychologist and executive director of the Sunshine Series and Idima Health Initiative in Abuja, Nigeria. She discusses some common psychological effects of elections on people and steps to manage stress and anxiety during elections.
If you look at the way elections have always happened, there is always that tension. There is always that fear, that feelings of uncertainty. How is the outcome going to be? What kind of change is it going to bring? So all of those fears, uncertainty, and all can lead to anxiety. I think first and foremost, we need to acknowledge, we need to let ourselves know that elections are not a joke. They are not beans. It's a serious thing. And give yourself grace that it's expected that it can trigger anxiety for you. Once you acknowledge that, it means you are now prepared, right? And if you're prepared, then it now helps you to put measures in place to manage that anxiety. So for example, as much as you can, we easily get so drawn to listening to all sorts of news, negative news, fake news, in fact, things being shared on social media and whatnot. And those things also agitate you and increase your anxiety levels. And most times, those are not even things that you have any control over, right? So try as much as possible to limit your exposure to all those type of things, those type of information, those type of things that can trigger you, right? Because once you don't know, then it won't heighten your sense of anxiety, right? Sometimes you find when there is election tension, that's when some people want to be controversial. That's when they want to be problematic. Try to avoid engaging with such people. Engage with people who are like minds like you, who would be encouraging, who would be supportive, who would also notice that if you're struggling, they would be there to support you. And I think there is more safety in when you are a part of a support network as opposed to if you were isolated.
Now, in today's digital age, parents face the daunting challenge of navigating their children's screen time. With kids rapidly increasing access on the internet and social media through smartphones, many African parents are becoming stricter with managing their children's screen time to shield them from harm in the digital world. Mohammed Yusuf reports.
Helen Atieno, 38, and mother of 1, is one of millions of parents who are strict when it comes to entering the vast, uncharted territories of the internet and technology.
When it's the phone, only 1 hour, because she uses the phone only when the homeworks are given there. But for the television, I can't say the hours, because sometimes I'm not in the house. So I think with the television, going to YouTube, maybe she can watch even more than 2 hours.
The World Health Organization recommends no screen time for children under the age of 2 and 1 hour or less for children between the ages of 2 and 5. For children 6 and older, parents are urged to monitor and limit the shows and games they play to keep them safe. As technology advances rapidly, many parents feel that raising kids is becoming more challenging because of social media and smartphones. Health experts warn that too much screen time can cause anxiety, depression, poor mental health, sleep problems, and issues with social and emotional development among children. Some parents notice these adverse effects on their children and within their communities.
Well, the disadvantages of having the internet is it is addictive in that when the child wakes up in the morning, then they tend to, that's the first thing they think about.
For some, the internet is really helpful. They learn a lot, but for some, they become so dull. So I think there should be a balance.
Studies show that too much screen time can negatively affect children's development, including their communication and problem-solving skills. Even though Atieno's child may have already passed those early stages, Atieno is still very strict and encourages her to study hard for a brighter future. Mohammed Yusuf, VOA News, Nairobi.
Cancer patients and advocates are urging authorities in Zimbabwe to ensure cancer centers have access to life-saving equipment needed to properly treat patients. Some patients say public hospitals do not have working machines for radiotherapy. Columbus Mavunga has more from Harare.
Fungai Munyeza, who lives in Zimbabwean capital Harare, says she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017. Munyeza says Zimbabwe's public hospitals did not have the equipment to treat her, and care in a private hospital was too expensive. So she sought treatment in South Africa, where she was declared cancer-free.
Because if I didn't have money, I would be gone. I would be gone because the treatment is expensive. So I would say my survival is mostly on my positivity and also on the types of regimes that I received.
The Zimbabwe National Cancer Registry's latest report issued in October says of the more than 7,000 new cancer cases reported each year in 2018 and 2019, 1,000 patients died of the disease.
In terms of cancer deaths, the leading causes of mortality, according to the report, are cervix. So cervix was by far the leading cause of a cancer. This was followed by prostate, and then esophagus, then breast and liver.
The non-profit group, the Cancer Association of Zimbabwe, says most types of cancer are curable, but the report suggests patients are not getting treatment until the cancer has reached its final stages. Love Mo Makurirofa with the Cancer Association of Zimbabwe is calling on the government to do more to stem the rate of cancer deaths.
Also need a sustainable funding mechanism, a domestic funding mechanism that is very sustainable, which will make sure that cancer programs are implemented extensively in the same way HIV and AIDS activities are being implemented.
Munyeza says cancer treatment in private hospitals is more expensive than seeking it abroad. She says cancer patients end up going abroad for treatment if they do not have funds to seek medication in private hospitals. For those who cannot afford to seek treatment elsewhere, Munyeza says the outlook is grim.
And remember, in Zimbabwe, there are only 2 radiotherapy machines. And of the 2 radiotherapy machines, they are all down at the moment, one in Blue and one in Harare.
In a brief statement to VOA on Monday, the Zimbabwean Health Ministry said the radiotherapy centers in Zimbabwe are being resuscitated and will be functional soon. Muturi Ncube, Zimbabwe's finance minister, last year introduced sugar tax to raise funds to improve services for cancer patients. So far, that revenue has not yet been distributed for cancer treatment services. Meanwhile, Munyeza says she plans to travel to India for more testing to ensure she remains cancer-free. Columbus Mavunga, VOA News, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Thanks for watching Healthy Living. For the latest news and coverage, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on X at Linoch Mudu. That's our show for today. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.